Welcome everybody, Film Fan 108 here to my Blu-ray pickup video for June of 2019. And as you guys can see, I have quite a bit of a stack to show off and talk about for you guys. So let's get to it, shall we, with the first title that I got for the month, and that is none other than The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, right here, guys. And this is not a title that I think a lot of people are looking for, and especially in June when there were so many titles for people to pick up. I think this one kind of got buried along with some of the other ones, maybe that were sort of on the lesser end of more of the high profile ones, but not for me. Now, the reason being is because I am a huge Terry Gilliam fan. Terry Gilliam is literally one of my favorite directors of all time. I can't say everything he's done I've liked, but I just love his work. Whether it's The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, The Fisher King, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, 12 Monkeys. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I have been interested in this film for a long time because, truth be told, this has been in development hell for such a long time, decades even, and give Terry Gilliam credit for even continuing with this because if it was any other director, they might have just called it quits because he has went through hell and back trying to make this movie, guys. I mean, there's a great documentary out there called Lost in La Mancha, which really documents the difficulties that he has had making this movie. At one time, it was like connected with Johnny Depp, and they were almost gonna film it, and then there were so many difficulties, and he's had so many just people come and go off of this project, and he stayed. And thank God, because there are certain passion projects for directors that you feel like they deserve to get a win, and he definitely deserves to get a win for sure, guys. Basically, the movie is about this filmmaker, played by Adam Driver, who is somebody who has sort of lost his way as a filmmaker. He doesn't really have that sort of zest for filmmaking anymore. He has a project he likes, but he's not as passionate about it as he used to be, and he goes back to his sort of his student film days and where he used to film stuff, and he remembers filming this great sort of indie student film with this local guy playing Don Quixote, and he goes to try to find him and goes to try to find himself on this journey, and he meets up with this guy years later, played by Jonathan Pryce, who believes he's Don Quixote. He believes full on he is Don Quixote and nobody can convince him otherwise. And him and this guy go on these misadventures and just all kinds of craziness ensue from there. I really like this movie, man. It really brings me back to, again, the Adventures of Baron Munchausen and stuff like that, where it feels very much the adventurous sort of Terry Gilliam from back in the day. It's on a lower budget, and you could really tell at times that it was, but it still looks beautiful. The sets are amazing. The acting, Adam Driver, who actually that was the role that Johnny Depp was actually gonna play years ago. I think Adam Driver does a great job here. Jonathan Pryce is a great actor, does an amazing job here in a kind of Baron Munchausen style role of somebody who believes he's this guy and nobody can convince him otherwise, and just the magic that comes from that, and him going on these adventures. It's it's wondrous, it's magical, it's inventive. Even on a lower budget, you still feel the passion that Terry Gilliam has for this project, guys. And I think it's really well done, man. Honestly, I really do because again, I think Terry Gilliam is a director that's very passionate about his projects, and he's somebody that goes out of his way to make it the best they possibly can be, even if it's on a low budget. He really tries his hardest on these things, and I think he does a really great job here, guys. Honestly, I really do. It's not the best film he's ever done. It's certainly not the worst film he's ever done. I think it's one where he finally got it made. And even though it may not be the exact movie that he wanted it to be, or maybe I or you want it to be, I think it came out as a win regardless. And I love Terry Gilliam, and this is a movie that I'm definitely gonna treasure for sure. It only was in the theaters for maybe like a couple days at best. I mean, that was about it, and then it left really quickly. So I was really anticipating this release. I'm so glad I finally got it, guys. And there's only actually a few featurettes about the movie as bonus features, basically just about him as a director and some of the actors and sort of the set design and stuff like that. They're very short featurettes. There's nothing long here. I wish we would have gotten a commentary track. I wish we would have gotten a full-on documentary because again, the passion that he's had to make this project has been so wild and the journey has been so crazy that I would have loved to see more here, but to get some featurettes, I'll take it over nothing. But I wish we would have gotten a little bit more. But honestly, if you're a fan of Terry Gilliam, guys, if you are somebody who really loves sort of his style of filmmaking and want to see what he's been up to, check out The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. Now, the next title that I picked up is one of the newer releases for the month, a sci-fi drama, but a very good one, and that is Captive State right here, guys. Very nice with this one wonderful slipcover here, and just the same artwork on the other side, nothing really different. This is one where I feel like a lot of people didn't really give it a chance, or either didn't really know about it, uh, either or here, but it's a great little sort of sci-fi drama. Basically, it's about 10 years later after the invasion of these creatures from another planet. Um, the Earth has been taken over. The government has been taken over, and they now control the government. They control people, and basically they're just siphoning the resources out of us. And there is this patch of like freedom fighters or this freedom cell that is trying to uncover the truth of what's going on and take down these aliens, and it's up to the government to try to stop them, and just sort of the battle ensues from there. It's not an action-packed movie. It's not something that is like an Independence Day or some crazy wild summer blockbuster. It's not this movie, guys. But I think this movie is very unique and very genuine because I like the characters here. I like the drama of what's going on. I like how they use sort of the means of like doing old school stuff like newspapers and print ads, and I like the idea behind the resistance and how they're fighting in a very small means that they don't have the resources of the government. I like it's a more smaller, contained sci-fi movie, and those are the ones I think I connect with the most. Yes, I do connect with the big bombastic sci-fi films, but I also connect with the more smaller, intimate ones, and I think Captive State is definitely it. I mean, it does have big CGI moments. You do at times see the aliens, not too much of them, but you do see some of it. But I think it comes down to the performances. I think it comes down to the plot and the story. And I think they all work out really well, man. I mean, John Goodman is awesome here, man. I love John Goodman so much. He is so fantastic, man. And this is no exception here. Vera Farmiga's great as well. And so many other really great actors in here. Kevin J. O'Connor as well. Lots of really great actors in this piece. And again, I like this sci-fi story taking it down to a more personal level. They didn't have a big budget. It kind of shows at times, but I really like the inventiveness that they did and the creativity. The movie is directed by Rupert Wyatt, and Rupert Wyatt is a very interesting director. He directed the remake of The Gambler, which not always a big fan of that movie, but it's not terrible. He also directed Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which is a great sci-fi film. And he seems to be a director who likes telling very smaller, intimate stories that seems like part of a larger and bigger world. And this is definitely one of those movies, guys. Again, it's not big and bombastic. It's not one of those movies that's going to blow you away exactly. But I think if you like a good drama wrapped in a sci-fi movie, I think you'll really enjoy this, guys. I really honestly do. And you have a few featurettes here. You have igniting a war, building the world of Captive State, and a feature commentary with Rupert Wyatt and one of the producers. Really good featurettes, man. Just talking about the story, talking about the constraints that they had, how they filmed it, where they filmed it, talking about the actors and how they feel about the movie as well. And the feature commentary is really interesting. Just again, talking about the making of the movie, talking about the restraint that they had, what they think about certain sci-fi films and where they feel that this ranks among them. It's a very interesting commentary. I really did like it quite a bit. And it's a really good movie, guys. Again, it's one where again it's not shoot 'em up action, and I know a lot of you guys really enjoy that. But again, smaller, intimate. I do enjoy those movies quite a bit. Not bad at all. Give it a chance. You might enjoy it. Captive State. Then the next title that I picked up, oh, come on. I had to pick it up, guys, because I am an MCU lover, and this one I thought was actually pretty darn decent. And that is Captain Marvel right here. The 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and digital. Oh, very nice. And I really like the art here of Captain Marvel looking really tough and rough there. And of course the same cover on the inside as well, guys. Now, I know there are some of you out there that are going to say, oh, Captain Marvel, really? Uh, I liked Captain Marvel, and I know a lot of people out there really had a lot of issues with Captain Marvel. They didn't quite like Brie Larson in it, or they felt that going sort of the prequel route, it kind of opened up some problems for the MCU. I threw that all out the window because I had a really good time with this movie, man. I thought the action was really good. I thought Brie Larson was really great in this role as well. I think a lot of people gave Brie Larson a lot of crap before this movie came out. I also think Brie Larson honestly didn't really do herself any favors. She was kind of putting her foot in her mouth at times. But but I don't really look at that when I go into the movie. I just base it on the performance. And I really like Brie Larson here. I like that she's a woman that is very tough, someone who's sarcastic, but somebody who is sort of lost. Somebody who hasn't really found her way yet and hasn't really found herself and who she is yet and is really coming into her own. I really like that a lot. I like the CGI here. I like showing off Captain Marvel's powers. I like the Skrulls and the Kree. I think the Skrulls are really great, and I really do think that going forward in the MCU, we're gonna get a lot of stuff with the Skrulls, guys. I really, honestly, really do believe that because I think the Skrulls are one of those sort of like they're villains, but not really. They have a complicated sort of history, and I think you could do something really cool with them in the MCU, and I'm glad they finally introduced them along with the Kree as well. I also really love Samuel L. Jackson here, guys. I'm not gonna lie, Samuel L. Jackson to me is probably the highlight of this movie. He is so awesome here. He is having such a wonderful time as a younger Nick Fury who doesn't have any of that baggage yet. Somebody who's just enjoying life and who is somebody who is really curious about the world, and just a really fantastic performance by Samuel L. Jackson as well. And of course, I can't not say anything about the cat. The cat is awesome, guys. I love the cat so much. Goose the cat is a highlight as well. I think for me, the big highlights are Samuel L. Jackson and the cat. I love Brie Larson here too, but I think the action is really cool here. I like the sci-fi aspects. I like that the MCU is going more sci-fi. I like that they're delving more into outer space stuff. I like that. I think as you've established the MCU, you go forward, you do more weirder stuff, and I think people are okay with it. I think people like going more strange and out there. As long as you keep it grounded, I think people really enjoy it, guys. And this is no exception. I thought it was really, really great, guys. I honestly did. It's not the best MCU movie. It's certainly not the worst. I think it's sort of middle ground MCU, to be honest with you, but I still really enjoyed it for what it was, and I love the character of Captain Marvel, and I can't wait to see more of her, honestly, guys. And you get quite a bit here. You get the deleted scenes, you get gag reel, you get the big hero moment, you get the origin of Nick Fury, you get the Skrulls and the Kree, audio commentary. The featurettes are very interesting, guys. You basically they just delve into Brie Larson and how she trained for this role. They talk about Samuel Jackson and how he sort of really fit into the MCU really well and made a great niche for himself, and how he's sort of been a part of a lot of major events and how he's shaped things. You also talk to the writer and directors here, talking about their take on the material as well, and where Captain Marvel fits into the MCU. The feature commentary is really great. The directors talk about working with Marvel and working with Brie Larson and Samuel Jackson and how they shaped and crafted the story. Some really great stuff here, guys. I honestly really do like this movie quite a bit, guys. And I know, again, it's not the best thing, and I know a lot of people really crapped on it because they wanted the best MCU movie of all time. You're not gonna get it here, guys. Unfortunately, I think it's a really well done told story, a really well done told origin story, prequel. It delves into the earlier past of the MCU, but also sort of foretells where maybe the future is gonna go for the MCU as well. I kind of like it quite a bit, guys, and I can't wait to see more of this character in the MCU. Hope you guys agree. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Captain Marvel. And the next pickup that I got, guys, is one from Severin Films right here. And I got it during their halfway to Black Friday sale, and that is none other than Buried Alive right here, guys. With this slipcover that they were selling during the halfway to Black Friday sale, and that's why I got the title, because I wanted the title anyways, but since they were having the slipcover as well, I was figuring, why not get both? Not bad right here. I love this one with her sort of almost in the ground there. And on the backside there, I love the warning. This is a violent, sick film, and you should stay away from it. I really love that a lot. Also known as Beyond the Darkness right here as well, with the cover right here as well. Not bad right there either. Not bad at all, guys. And I had heard about this film for literally years, guys. Everyone was like, this is sick and depraved, and this is one of the most, violent films ever. And I was like, really? I'm like, okay. And I was like, let me have at it, baby. And so I went for it. And, it's kind of interesting because the movie is about this guy who, his girlfriend or his fiance, she's very sick, and one day she unfortunately passes away, and basically he is so grief stricken and sort of sad and depressed and doesn't want to let her go from his life, so he steals her from the cemetery, brings her back to his place, and he does taxidermy on her and sort of keeps her in his room, and sort of so she can stay with him forever and ever and ever. Ooh, all the while that's going on, you've got his housekeeper who is really just obsessed with him and wants him, and as he's sort of doing these evil deeds and maybe attacking other women, she's helping him cover all this up as well, and she's manipulating the situations. You've also got this other guy who works for the cemetery, who sort of saw what he did and is trying to uncover it and sort of expose him at the same time. There's a lot of things going on with this movie, guys, be honest with you. And the movie has some really good gore effects, some really good blood effects. I think the kills are really cool here. The acting is kind of cheesy, but it's, it's low budget. It's, it is what it is. I like it, though. I think it works really well. The movie is directed by Joe D'Amato, and I have a couple of his films, and he's a very interesting filmmaker. He definitely goes for the nudity and the blood and the gore quite a bit, and this is no exception, guys. I think it is very sick and depraved. It deals with cannibalism. It deals with necrophilia. It deals with torture. It's not the most perverse and insane movie I've ever seen, guys, because I've seen some really messed up stuff. This is not the most messed up thing I've ever seen, but I could see why people would be very upset by this movie. I could see why people would not like this movie. For me, I actually did enjoy it because I like the message of how you can take love too far. The idea of how basically you're so manipulated by love that it could literally mess you up and turn you like evil. I really like that message quite a bit. It does it in really weird and messed up ways, but I liked it quite a bit. And I will also say this movie has one of the best musical scores by Goblin. My God, man, the music in here is fucking fantastic. I love the musical score here, man. I think Goblin does an amazing job here, and I think the movie again, it is depraved. It's a little sick, but for me, I'm used to these movies a lot. I've watched a lot of horror movies, guys. I'm used to this type of material. If you're not, I could see you turning away from it, but to be perfectly honest with you, if you like these type of sick horror movies, maybe give it a chance. It's not a bad one by far. I do like the Severin gave this the quality release that they did, guys. And you get here as far as features, you get Joe D'Amato, the horror experience, an interview with the director, and he really goes through his whole sort of overture as a director, all the films he did and his influences and everything like that, and Buried Alive being a part of it. You also get an interview with a couple of the actresses, one being the character of Iris the housekeeper, and she really talks about working with Joe D'Amato, working with the main actor, the blood and the effects and the nudity. The same with the other actress who played one of the victims. She actually talks about, again, how working with the director and how sometimes maybe it was a little uncomfortable at times. Very interesting interviews there. You also get a Goblin Reborn performance from a few years ago. Actually, that's a really cool one because, again, Goblin is such a really great band, and they did such really great scores from back in the day, this being one of them. Really great stuff there. You also get Locations Revisited, and it's basically just showing off what the locations were from back in the day and then showing sort of footage of what they were now, and so it's kind of it's kind of like it goes back and forth and everything. Not bad at all, guys. You also get a theatrical trailer here, and yeah, not bad at all. Severin definitely gave it the love it deserves, guys. I thought it actually turned out pretty darn well. I really enjoyed it. I honestly did. It's sick and depraved, but I really quite liked it quite a bit, guys. And again, if you're into these type of movies, then give it a chance. What can I say? I've seen a lot of them, so maybe I'm a little sick and depraved in the head. You know what I'm saying? I won't deny that one bit. Give it a chance if you like these type of experiences. Buried Alive. Then the next title that I picked up is, an upgrade in the collection, a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray upgrade. And that is none other than Ghostbusters 1 and 2 in steelbook form right here, guys. Yes, looks quite good. I'm not gonna lie here, man. I love this one. The front there with the main ghost. On the back side, you have the fellows right there in their Ghostbusters gear. Very nice right here as well. And on the inside here, you get the discs housed in there. No real main artwork on the inside there, but you do get the discs stacked on top of each other here, right there as well. So you got some discs stacked on top of one another. 4Ks on one side, Blu-rays on another. Lots of discs, lots of good material here, and good movies, guys, because, for me, there is certain movies that are absolutely classics. Ghostbusters is one of them. Now, I told you guys from back in other previous Blu-ray pickup videos that I ended up having my mother and father back in the day record movies on VHS. Ghostbusters was one of them. In fact, Ghostbusters 2 would eventually be another one as well. And this is just a great movie to watch when you're a kid and even when you're an adult, man, because I love the ghosts, I love the supernatural aspect of it, I love the comedy, but more important than that, I love the characters, man. And I think that's what brought me back to it more and more is the characters. And I think it's a very genuine movie for having these actors in here at this period of time because I thought it was very well done, man. Honestly, it really was. I mean, you have Bill Murray here, you have Dan Aykroyd, you have Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, Rick Moranis, my God, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, you had such an amazing cast for this movie, and the fact that they got all this talent together and some of them really hadn't had much in their career yet. Others were already very much established. It's a very unique time period for this movie, 1984, I believe it was. And just everything came together in the most perfect way, and it became this sort of really worldwide phenomenon of Ghostbusters. And I can see why, because it's such a really genuine and really funny movie that really just opens up people's imaginations of what's possible and just you really get to spend time with these characters and really get to care for them, and I think that's what makes this movie really special. And Ghostbusters 2, for me guys, Ghostbusters 2 is such a great experience, man. It really is because I know it's see, I think a lot of people really crap on Ghostbusters 2 because well, it's not as good as Ghostbusters 1. Well, no shit. I mean, of course it's not as good as Ghostbusters 1. I could tell you that. But I still think it's really good, guys. I still think it's a really solid movie, and I really like how they tell this very unique story of how they have to come back together as Ghostbusters, how they have to deal with Dana now having a kid, and how that affects the relationships. And I like these characters coming back together, and I think the comedy still works. I think the chemistry is still there. I like the effects. I think it's a solid sequel. It's not as good, but sometimes sequels rarely are, though, guys. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I still think it's a really great movie. Things like the whole thing with the Statue of Liberty, I think is great. I think the pink slime is really awesome here. I like the character of Vigo. I think Vigo is a really cool villain. I like him a lot. Like I said, I still think the chemistry is there with all of the actors here. It's a really solid sequel, man. It really honestly is, and I really love both of the movies equally. I really do, guys. It was movies that I watched in a big bad way when I was a kid. I still watch them. I love them so much. I think they're fantastic movies. And honestly, I was hesitant about getting this upgrade because I did have this release right here, guys. I had this release of Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and basically, I was unsure about whether I wanted to get this one here. And the reason why is because did I really want the upgrade? Did I really need it? Because sometimes and when you're dealing with upgrades, you really got to think to yourself, do I want to get the upgrade? Is it worth it for me to pay the money to have this title again in the collection? Actually, yes, it is. As much as I love this release and I think it's really good, I will honestly admit, guys, this one is better. Now, why is it better? Well, first of all, you get a brand new fan commentary here. I think it's a great fan commentary on the first Ghostbusters. You get a brand new audio commentary on the first Ghostbusters as well with Ivan Reitman, Dan Aykroyd, and one of the producers as well. You also get the old school commentary also as well. You have some great featurettes on this first Ghostbusters disc, man. You get some featurettes on the making of it. You get a lot of behind the scenes of them making the movie, interviewing the actors, and it's very interesting. They're interviewing the actors before this movie ever came out. So they're promoting it, but they don't know what this is yet. They don't know what this will become, which I really think is very fascinating. You get to see the behind the scenes of how they made the effects. And there's also some interesting sort of demo reel stuff with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd talking about the movie to possible investors or something at this sort of big studio convention, which is really interesting as well. You also get deleted scenes here, guys, and I know a lot of you guys are really big on deleted scenes, and I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for deleted scenes for Ghostbusters for quite a long time, myself included. They do not disappoint here, guys. You get some great deleted scenes here. I will admit, some of the deleted scenes, I think I'm glad they got cut. Other ones could have been put in there. I think it's based on your guys' opinion of what you think, but it's sort of half and half for me. I think the deleted scenes are fascinating, especially the stuff with Dan Aykroyd and the ghost that sort of unzips his pants. Like I was like I knew there was more to that scene, and you finally get to see that in the deleted scene stuff, plus so much more. Some really cool stuff with Rick Moranis as well, and a possible like weird cameo stuff between Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray for this scene that I'm glad it got cut because it never would have worked. But it's kind of good to see those kind of deleted scenes, guys. You also get, as well on the Ghostbusters 2 disc, you get, first of all, you get an audio commentary, which, by the way, guys, I am so happy about an audio commentary. You have no idea. I've been waiting for an audio commentary on Ghostbusters 2 for, like, ever, man, and I'm so happy. And the Ghostbusters 2 commentary is great. Dan Aykroyd, Ivan Reitman, one of the producers, talking about how the movie's underrated, how they made the movie, how they came up with the story, and just really a great time with those guys talking about the movie. On top of that, you get some really great deleted scenes as well. Some deleted scenes for Ghostbusters 2, not bad here as well. You also get some behind the scenes featurettes, making of it, the effects. Also, you get this whole sort of they must have did this Ghostbusters 2 sort of show on the Oprah Winfrey show. That Oprah Winfrey did this whole Ghostbusters 2 show where like all the actors came on and they were talking about the movie and promoting it, and it's a weird show, dude, because it's really from back in the day in the 80s, and you could really tell the way the clothing and everything is, and it's very fascinating how they interview them and how Oprah is talking with them about the movie and the first Ghostbusters movie, and very fascinating stuff here, guys. I really love this. This is a great upgrade for the collection. I'm really happy that I picked this one up, guys. I know they are shooting Ghostbusters 3 or whatever it's going to be right now. I'm anticipating it. I hope it's good. Whether it's good or not, we'll always have Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and this is a great release. I know there's been so many releases of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 in the past, but guys, give this release a chance. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I thoroughly enjoy this one, guys. Give it a chance. I think you'll like it. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And the next pickup that I got, guys, is a release from Massacre Video. First time I ever actually got anything from Massacre Video, and that is Final Stab right here, guys, with the very interesting art here. And on the inside, the art right here, very reminiscent of Scream, very much reminiscent of it. And, well, let's talk about Scream for a second, shall we? 1996, and Scream is such a seminal horror movie. It's one of those ones where I feel like it is just one that changed the genre in a big bad way. And along with changing the genre, any big major horror movie that does that will have a lot of copycats involved. And there is a lot of copycats of Scream, man. A ton of them. I mean, look, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and so many ones that came after that. Well, put Final Stab on the list as well, guys, because it definitely is one for sure. And basically, it's about these sort of 20-somethings who go on this vacation, and they're all just getting picked off one by one. And it's pretty simple, and to be honest with you guys, it's not that good of a movie. I remember watching this movie years ago, and I think, when you're a young horror fan, I think you're just taking whatever you can get. Oh man, there's late night movies on Cinemax. Fine, I'll watch it. Oh, there's stuff on cable. Fine, give it to me. I watched a lot of stuff. And, my younger self might have been okay with certain movies where I might have given it a pass at the time. My older self now, not so much, guys. Not so much. And I think Final Stab is one of them. I remember watching Final Stab and I thought, okay, cool. I think now I'm like, yeah, this is pretty bad. It is. The performances are lame. I think the kills are really lame. The only thing I really like here is the guy in the mask, man. And I'll kind of show you here. The mask right there. I kind of like the mask. I think the mask actually looks really cool. I actually kind of like it. That's really the only saving grace I can honestly see here. Kills I just didn't really like. I think the characters are really just bland and very conceited, and quite honestly, I really didn't like really any of them. I just was waiting for most of them to die, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, I ended up leaving the film after watching it, thinking to myself, God, even a lot of the Scream ripoffs are better than this one. I mean, this is just really just a lame movie, man. It really honestly is in every sense of the word. Uh, you know, I hate to say it because it really is true that you know unfortunately with a lot of horror genres, whether we're talking about ghost stories or whether we're talking about mass killers or whatever, there is good movies. However, there's far more crap than there is actually good movies, and that is really is true. Like the movies that are good, like you hear them mentioned constantly, but there is so much crap that has come out in the genres that after a while, I think you kind of just get sick of seeing most of the crap, and I think it kind of affects you, and I think it affects your love for the genre. I think for me, there's a lot of mass killer stabbing movies, and a lot of them just fall by the wayside, guys. And I think this is one of them. Honestly, I did not like Final Stab, and this is like just stay away from it, dude. Go back, watch Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, fuck it, Scream 4. I know what you did last summer. I still know what you did last summer. I'll always know what you did last summer. Whatever they have, man. Final Stab is not one that you want to watch, dude. I didn't really care for it at all. I think it was pretty fucking lame movie, to be honest with you. And honestly, I'm probably not gonna keep this, guys. I'm really not. It was a blind buy. It was a blind buy that I hadn't seen in quite a long time, so I thought, what the hell? But honestly, I'm not gonna keep it in the collection because it's just a waste of space in the collection where better movies could go in for sure. So yeah, yeah, I hate to say it, guys. Not every slasher mass killer movie is created equal, and this kind of proves it. So I would stay away from Final Stab, quite honest with you. Um, that being said, if you do like the movie, and I've shit all over it, you get a 2K restoration from the 35mm original camera negative. You get a new audio commentary with director David Dakota. David Dakota, man, he has done a lot of trash cinema. I've remembered things that Red Letter Media has watched of his and a few other people, and yeah, I'm just kind of like those don't look appealing to me, and add Final Stab to that list. You get other trailers for other Massacre video releases, and that's about it, guys. Yeah. Again, stay away from it. Some horror movies you just don't need to see. Final Stab is one of them. Stay away. Final Stab. Then the next release I picked up is a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray digital title, and that is Jordan Peele's Us. Right here, guys. A very, very nice cover here, and it's the same on the inside as well. Not bad, as also there. Now, You know, there is some really unique people in horror. You know, Jason Blum and James Wan, and I feel like Jordan Peele is now on that list. You know, when Get Out came out, it was such a shocker of a movie because nobody really ever saw it coming. You had this guy who was from Key and Peele that was a like sketch comedy, and this guy's making a horror movie. What? Like you're just like, whoa, what is this, man? And it surprised me, and I think it surprised a lot of people who watched Get Out, who thought it was such a very wonderful and really interesting racial take on a horror movie that was really well done. And I think a lot of people left Get Out saying, I can't wait to see what he does next. And Us is exactly that. It's basically about this family who goes on this vacation, and they are immediately stalked by these people that look exactly like them. I mean, carbon copies of them. And these people want to take over their lives and kill them, and they need to survive. They need to survive, and they need to find answers of what's going on. And I thought it was really well done, man. Different than Get Out, still in the horror genre. I love how basically Jordan Peele is playing with the racial stuff here. He's playing with the ideas of identity and the idea of your own uniqueness might not be unique at all, and just how how sort of somebody who's the same person can literally change depending on what situation they're in. It's really fascinating stuff here, man, and I think the horror here works really well. I love the blood and I love the gore here. I love the kills. I think Jordan Peele is a very unique name in the horror genre, and I feel like he's somebody who, quite honestly, he's somebody who I think really is somebody who loves horror. Like there's certain people out there who you watch them as directors or actors who do these horror movies and you think they're not really into horror. Yeah, they do horror because it sells for them, but they're not really into it. And then you see people like Jordan Peele and you say, this guy really loves horror. He really loves old school horror movies. He's learned from them. He saw what works and what doesn't, and he takes it and he makes it his own. And that's what Jordan Peele does, man. And I thought Us was brilliant. The performances are great here as well. There's not much bad here to say. I think the only bad thing here is I think the plot is going to confuse people, especially towards the end. I think there is certain reveals in the movie that maybe they shouldn't have done. Like, I'm okay with explaining stuff, but sometimes over explanation might be a problem. I think you don't need to over explain everything. I think that was a little bit of a crutch for the movie as well. That being said, outside of that, it's a brilliant film. It's a brilliant sophomore effort by Jordan Peele. And yeah, it's really well done, man. I honestly loved it when I watched it in the theaters, and rewatching it again on 4K just made me love it even more, man. I thought it was awesome. I really honestly did. And you get quite a few special features here, man. You get the monsters within us. You get tethered together, making us twice. You get deleted scenes, redefining a genre, Jordan Peele's brand of horror. We're all dying, as above, so below. Becoming red, the duality of us, scene explorations, and much more. So much really great information here. Whether it's featurettes talking about the story, the characters, Jordan Peele's directing style, the blood effects, the gore effects. There's also a commentary track here as well, and Jordan Peele does a great job talking about the movie, talking about debunking certain theories that people have about the movie, debunking those, and just really having a fun time talking about this movie and his influences. And it's just a really great movie. And Jordan Peele's a really great director, man. That I'm just really glad to see this guy doing really great horror work, and he is continuing to do horror. He was sort of the host of that new Twilight Zone series, which I have not seen yet. I heard it's good. You definitely let me know, guys. And I know his next movie is going to be a horror film. I have a feeling he's not interested in doing like anything outside of the horror genre, at least right now, which is fine for me. He's a director to me who, you know, I feel like we've lost a lot of really great voices in horror over the years. Some who have retired, others who have passed on, unfortunately. And there is certain ones who I feel like are keeping the horror genre alive. As I said, Jason Blum and James Wan, who's done a great job with it. And I honestly put Jordan Peele there because Jordan Peele is one of those people who I think is keeping the horror genre relevant and keeping it still one of those genres that I think people can rely on for really great social commentary and just a really great time at the movies. And yeah, I can't wait to see what he does next. I really honestly can't. It's a great movie and well worth your time, guys. Definitely give it a look. Us. And the next title that I picked up, guys, is a release from Mondo Macabro. I always love picking up stuff from them because they always put out some really unique and interesting and rare titles, stuff you've never heard of, and this is definitely no exception. And that is none other than Emmanuel in America, right here, guys. With this really great art on the front. And I always really love different color Blu-ray cases. And I think the red really works with this title really well, guys. I think it honestly does. And this is a limited edition. Now, when it was originally selling on Mondo Macabro's site, it completely sold out. So this is now officially out of print. I'm glad I picked one of these up. And on the inside, you can actually see that it says, my copy is 499 out of 1,500. Very happy that I got one of these for sure. And on the inside, you actually get different artwork. You get this artwork of some females, naked females at that, swimming. It's Emmanuel bound to get some nakedness here for sure. I'm gonna stick with this one, guys, because I actually kind of think it's a little more classier. So I'm definitely sticking with that one. And then on the inside here, guys, you actually get some other stuff that Mondo Macabro put in here. You get a booklet here talking about the movie. It talks about the making of the movie and Laura Gemser and everything. It has a bunch of pictures in here and some articles and everything. Not half bad on this one as well. And they also put in here some postcards here as well. Some interesting photos here. Yes, quite interesting, showing some nakedness there. Let's see, more nakedness, more nakedness, more sleazy nakedness. Yeah, just a lot of nakedness, guys. Yes, postcards, Mondo Macabro definitely put some interesting stuff in their releases for sure. And speaking of nakedness, let's get to the movie. Uh, I've told you guys in previous Blu-ray pickup videos that I would try to find more titles with Laura Gemser in them. I've gotten some previous Laura Gemser releases from Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, Code Red has put some stuff out as well that I've gotten in the past. But a lot of these titles you don't see on the market very much because, quite honestly, I don't think they're very popular titles. I don't think that they're ones that are gonna sell all that well. Some really do, like this one, but some not so much. So you don't see them on the market too much. So whenever I see them, I try to pick them up. And I had never seen Emmanuel in America, but again, because it's Laura Gemser, I was giving it a chance. Basically, it's about this female reporter who does a lot of these sort of taboo stories, and she wanted to go undercover in a lot of these sort of sex organizations and sort of uncover the truth behind them. And that's what she does. She goes undercover to these places and she experiences all kinds of sex in all its forms. And yeah, we're just off and running. There is a shit load of nakedness here, guys. There is a shitload of nakedness, a shitload of sex. It is just wall to wall sexuality, almost from the beginning frames practically to the last. It just, I mean, some people would call this a porno. They're probably not wrong. It's definitely just dripping with sexuality all over the place, man. And I get it. I honestly do. It makes sense to me. I think these type of movies, man, they're just very they're just I think I think sex is a really tough thing to talk about in movies and just in real life because I feel like it's a subject people don't want to deal with at times, and this is a movie that's really interesting because I think it's I don't think it's trying to break any barriers, but I think it's trying to talk about sex in, sex that's consensual, sex that's not consensual, sex that is kind of disturbing to look at, others that break some boundaries. I think that this goes into a lot of different things, whether we're talking about, people of political power or, people from a lower class not really being able to make it on a real job going into these sort of sexual favors, whether it's going into brothels or anything like that. I mean, it definitely delves into a lot of different things, guys, and they do not shy away from anything, man. And Laura Gemser is just the one that's just shepherding this all along. And I like the performances here. I'm not gonna lie. I think Laura Gemser is a very bold woman who does not mind taking her clothes off, and I think she's very free with her body, as a lot of people in this movie are. And I think she gives a good performance here. I think she's been good in these Emmanuel movies. I've liked her a lot, or liked her performances. And I like most of the actors here. I think they're just playing it straight up. I mean, when you're getting naked on camera and showing all of your parts, man, there's not much to hide. And so they're definitely going for it in a big bad way. I will say this though. I don't think a lot of people are going to be comfortable with this movie. I think a lot of people are going to be turned off by the nakedness and the subjectiveness of the material. And I'm not going to lie, there is one scene in this movie that basically got to me, man. I'm usually not very squeamish about this stuff, and there is one scene in here, and I won't really give it away. All I'll say is that it's with a horse. That's all I'll say, guys. It's with a horse, and you can take it from there however you want. But I'm telling you, there's a scene with a horse that I got really uncomfortable with, very fast, and I was like, "Oh man, where is the fast forward button? Because I can't fast forward it fast enough, man." It's wow. They delve into a lot of sexual stuff here, man, and I think a lot of people are either going to be okay with it or they're not. For me, I'm okay with it because I'm okay with a lot of these movies. I own a lot of them in the collection. Um, and I think a lot of these movies were made during a time when they weren't considered pornos. They were considered sort of art house movies in a weird way. And years later, I think that went the way of the dinosaur and they became just flat out porno movies. But back in the day, they were considered more art, and yeah, and they were just considered high art, and you either understood it or you didn't. Um, Now looking back on this movie in sort of present day terms, uh, I don't know if it really holds up exactly, but it's a really great fascination of back in the day and just how sexuality was. Very interesting to me, man. And again, this is another movie that's directed by Joe D'Amato. So you take something like Buried Alive, and then you take something like this, two very different style movies, but definitely a director that tries to definitely just overtake the boundaries for sure. But it's a very interesting movie, and can't say you've seen anything quite like it at times for sure, guys. You get here an audio commentary by some experts in the genre, and they're very open about this movie, man. They really are talking about Laura Gemser. They're talking about how movies like this could be made during that time and the nakedness and everything. They delve into it all. Very, very informative commentary, to be honest with you guys. You also get an interview with the writer talking about the movie, talking about the making of it, and really what their intentions were. Very, very interesting stuff there as well. You also get Joe D'Amato Totally Uncut, another, of course, interview with the director talking about his career. And as I said, you also get other Mondo Macabro previews. You get the lobby cards that I showed you guys as well, and the exclusive booklet. Yeah, this movie is all kinds of just weirdness and nakedness, and you're either gonna go with it or you're not. But I will tell you something. This is gonna be one in the collection that I'm gonna be like, yeah, another Laura Gemser nakedness one. Anybody want to watch? I doubt it's going to get pulled out of the collection very many times, but when it does, it'll definitely be an experience for sure, guys. Definitely check it out. Emmanuel in America. Then the next title that I picked up is a release from Scream Factory, guys, and that is none other than Night of the Creeps right here, guys. Very nice with this really great slipcover here, man, with the original art, or one of the original arts, I should say. Very cool. I love that original art so much. And on the inside, I switched it to the other theatrical art that they have right there as well. Oh, I love that art too. Actually, both arts. You can't go wrong. They're both awesome. This is a great goddamn horror movie, guys. This is a great horror movie. I love these type of horror movies of like slugs going into the brain, and they're controlling you and attacking you. One of my favorites from the 2000s is Slither. Slither is one of my favorites, and of course, what was one of the movies that was an influence on that? Night of the Creeps. I really love how basically it's about these college kids who are trying to get into this fraternity, trying to be cool, and they're not exactly succeeding. And they sort of release this body from this sort of laboratory, which apparently they just leave doors open in laboratories. What the hell? There's no security. And this sort of body has these slugs inside it, and the slugs escape, and suddenly they're just attacking the whole like college campus area, and sort of hell breaks loose from there. It's so great, dude. This is a great goddamn movie, man. Tom Atkins owns this movie, man. Thrill me. It's like, dude, you're a badass. You're a badass motherfucker, man. I love this movie so much, man. I love the slugs. I love the blood. I love the gore. I love the comedy. I love the characters. I think this movie is such a great slice of 80s horror, man, that just is not really getting made anymore, dude. It's not. And it's such a shame because like I said, Slither reminds me so much of Night of the Creeps. And that's the last time that I really felt that there was something like that really felt like this sort of like, slug type of movies, man. They just don't make them like this, man. They really honestly don't. And this is a gem, dude. This is honestly a pure gem and so goddamn good. really well worth your time, guys. Honestly, this movie's written and directed by Fred Decker. He also wrote and directed Monster Squad, which Monster Squad is awesome. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, man, I love this movie so goddamn much, man. It's such a pleasure to watch, dude. You have so much fun watching this movie. It's not just about like the horror of it. It's about having fun while you're watching it. And I feel these 80s movies are just flat out about fun, man. And this is one of the funnest horror movies you are going to watch for sure. God, I love this one so much, guys. So wonderful. And to be fair, guys, I used to have this release right here. Now, this Night of the Creeps one that I had, well, it's got signed by a lot of the cast, man. A lot of the cast has signed this copy. But the artwork on this was not so hot at the time. This is much better artwork, guys. You have a lot better artwork on here, so this is definitely much improved by Scream Factory. But you had so many special features on this release, guys. You had the commentaries, you had the documentary, you had so much great stuff on here that I didn't know whether this was actually going to be worth an upgrade or not. And quite honestly, I think they did a pretty good job here. You know, again, you have new interviews with some of the people who were involved in the movie that did not get interviewed on the previous release. You get a new Horrors Hallowed Grounds, which is great. I love these Horror Hallowed Grounds. Sean Clark does an amazing job in these guys. Does a great job. He did an awesome one with this. You get all the old school stuff, the commentary with Fred Decker, the commentary with the cast. You get the original theatrical ending, deleted scenes, featurettes, a bunch of the stuff from this release, guys. You get it all, man. Everything from this is ported over here, plus some of the newer stuff. Not a bunch of newer stuff. If you still want to keep that older release, I completely understand, guys. You get the theatrical release here, and you also get the extended cut. I actually prefer the extended cut a little bit more over the theatrical. I like the ending a little bit better. I like some of the extra added scenes. It's not much, but I do like it, guys. Honestly, this is a really great movie, man. And no matter whether it's the theatrical cut or the extended cut, honestly, you can't go wrong. This is such an awesome slice of 80s horror that I can't recommend enough, man. They really do not make them like this anymore. They really do not, man. And if you're a fan of Tom Atkins like I am and love him being one badass mofo, definitely watch this, guys. This is so awesome here. I wish they made more like this. Unfortunately, not really. Shame. Night of the Creeps. And the next title that I picked up, guys, is a release from Severin Films. Yet another one from those guys. And it is none other than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3? Well, actually, no, it is not. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. However, that would be really cool if they actually did have it. But, no, it's actually known as Night Killer right here, guys. Now, to be fair, in other countries, it's kind of weird because in the United States and most of the places around the world, when a film is known by a certain title, it's known by a certain title. That's what you know it as. In other parts of the country, they change the title that maybe is more popular over in that area, so they want to sell more copies, or they want to, drum up more business. And sometimes they attach certain titles to certain movies to get you to shell out your money, and this is one of them. So some people saw this title and they said, "Hey, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, give me the title and I'll take my money." And yeah, not really, guys, unfortunately. But this does happen more often than you think. But with that being said, yes, this is Night Killer right here, guys. And actually, this is a title that is now out of print because Severin was teasing this title. They went to a convention with this title and they were posting on social media, and people, I saw posts on Facebook like crazy of people just like looking at this slipcover and was like, oh my god, this has the slipcover and it says Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Oh my god, we have to buy it. Oh my god, this is amazing. When are they going to put this on sale? And it was like a frenzy. People were like, this is a very unique slipcover, and people definitely wanted it. And Severin was like, hey, we're selling it at this convention. Whatever remaining copies we have, we'll put online. And they did. And yeah, it sold like hotcakes, man. It sold fast. And I was one of the people that was able to get a copy. And the movie is about this woman who gets terrorized by this masked killer. And I really like the mask that this killer has on, man. It's a really unique sort of like mask. And if I can show you the real mask here, kind of show you right there if it can get up close. I like the mask, dude. The mask looks really cool. I think that's one of the best parts about the movie is the mask. I think the mask is awesome. And she's terrorized by this guy, and he's like attacking her, and something happens where she loses her memory. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know, who her daughter is. She has no idea of what's going on. And the cops are trying to get involved. The psychiatrists are trying to help her out. In the meantime, there's this other guy who kidnaps her and attacks her, and you don't know whether this is the real killer or whether it's just somebody else who's sort of like some evil dude that's manipulating her and just trying to mess with her and mess with her mind or something. And this woman is just really just trying to survive these things and trying to get her memory back at the same time. And the movie the movie is just okay. I can't say the movie's great, guys. The movie is just okay. And I think my problem, honestly, guys, is that I just don't think the movie's very exciting. It's kind of dull, to be honest with you. I think the performances are a little cheesy here. The kills I think at first you're thinking the kills are gonna be pretty good because there's like one kill where like he's sort of going stabbing right through her and like just pulling the hand back, and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. And then they just continue to do the same kill, over and over. And there's nothing, they don't really do much with the killer, they don't really do much with the kills. A lot of the characters you don't really care for. Even the woman, the actress who's playing like the messed up chick who keeps on getting with like her memory messed with and everything. She's just kind of very bland. Honestly, I was watching the movie and I was like, okay, like I'm like, she really doesn't do much for me. The performance doesn't do much for me. I don't really care for her. I don't really care for her situation or what she's doing. Honestly, I really didn't. Yeah, it was honestly not one that I really liked. I thought it was very tame for a horror movie. I mean, I didn't really like Final Stab, but I'll take Final Stab over this thing any day of the week, man. This was just completely dull, man. It had no life to it. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous and over the top, and I think that's the only thing that it has going for it is that you kind of think like this is weird and crazy and kind of it's got some weird performances at times to it, and the mask killer's kind of cool, and that's kind of the only thing that's really honestly holding on to this movie. Unfortunately, I wish it was much better because again, the slipcover is really cool, and Severin put a lot of effort into this movie, but I kind of feel that that's what you need to sell some of these movies nowadays, because some of these movies, honestly, most of them by these independent companies are really cool, and I'm not gonna lie, they're really cool. But sometimes there's certain movies that are kind of dull and not all that exciting, and to drum up the business, you gotta do something that's gonna attract the customer base. You know, you gotta put these slipcovers in here. You gotta do something to really get this stuff to sell, because I saw a lot of reviews on YouTube about this movie, and a lot of people say the same stuff, that it's an okay movie. It's kind of dullish and it's kind of lifeless, and it's got a cool killer mask in it, but they don't really do much with it, and it's kind of a shame. Again, it had a lot of potential, but it really fell flat, unfortunately, to me. I mean, definitely look up this stuff online, guys. I mean, it didn't really excite me the way I wanted to. It had, again, a ton of potential, but it kind of failed. And you get an interview with the director, Claudio Fragasso, and he's talking about the movie, and he's talking about sort of making this in America, and what he wanted to accomplish with the movie. And Claudio Fragasso, I think I have another one of his. I think it's a Zombie 4 I have, which Zombie 4 is okay. I kind of feel that this director is sort of, he's sort of the lesser Lucio Fulci, or he's one of those guys that, he makes these Italian movies, but he doesn't make them as good as the other better Italian people like Argento or Fulci or some of those people. But it's still a very fascinating interview of him talking about the movie and talking about the making of it and what he wanted to accomplish. Very interesting stuff here. You also get an interview with the screenwriter as well. And man, the screenwriter is really cool here, talking about the movie, talking about the experiences, with the movie and how they wanted to sort of make it and what statement they wanted to make, and certain sort of takes on horror movies that they wanted to do with this. So some interesting stuff here, guys. Some interesting information to take away from it. But honestly, I wish the movie was just better, man. Honestly, I wish it was. This is one of those sort of like movies where I watch it and I'm kind of like, take it or leave it, but it really ain't worth, I think the genuine slipcover or the genuine stuff that Severin put into it. Cool that they did. I'm glad that they put the effort in. I love Severin putting in the effort, but for me, this one is just not worth it, guys. I hate to say it. It probably will not stay in the collection, I hate to say, because again, I want to keep stuff that actually is going to be of interest to me, stuff that's not. It was a blind buy. Sometimes these blind buys don't work out. It happens, but it was an interesting experiment. But one I'm not really going to care for, honestly. But if you guys are interested in it, definitely give it a look. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3? Well, no. Night Killer. Then the last pickup that I got, guys, is a Blue Underground release. Oh, I am very happy to pick this one up. It's the 3-disc limited edition new 4K restoration set of the New York Ripper Lenticular right here. Not half bad, guys. Now, on the inside here, you get the regular art as well here. So you get this lenticular art, the regular art here, and on the inside here, guys, you get this different art right here, which I like this art. I don't know which one I'm gonna pick with, either this art or this one. I kind of like both of them. I don't really know. I'm kind of picking which one I kind of like a little bit more. Let me know which one you think I should pick, guys. I'm definitely picking right now I'm picking this one, but definitely let me know what you guys think. It also comes with a booklet that talks about the writing of the movie. It has pictures and everything, and just talks about the making of it and everything, and not half bad as well. And also it comes with the original motion picture soundtrack as well for it. Blue Underground definitely went all out for this release, for sure. And for good reason, guys, because this is another Lucio Fulci title to add to the growing collection of Lucio Fulci films that I now have in the ever-spanning collection. Now, it's been a little bit since I've gotten another Fulci title, but, I'm always on the hunt. And I really did like this movie a lot, guys. I think this is one of his more well-known ones. I've gotten a lot of Lucio Fulci titles that are actually more obscure. Definitely check those Blu-ray pickup videos out to see the more obscure Lucio Fulci titles that I've picked up. This is, again, more well-known. More people know about this one compared to some of his other films. But this is a really interesting one of basically this guy who is going around in New York City killing these women, whether it's Triple X showing chicks that he's killing, or prostitutes or whatever. He's just killing people, and these cops are trying to find who it is, and trying to stop this killer, and just all the complications and the craziness that goes on from there. And I really like this movie, man. I like the horror aspect to this. I like the killings. I like the blood and the gore here. I like how sleazy and how brutal this movie is. And it just goes to show that Lucio Fulci is a guy that really just loves to really just go for it, man. If he's making a movie about a killer, he's really making a movie. He's not shying away from any stuff, man. And I really love how it shows sort of a very sleazy underbelly to New York back in the day. And there's some really great films that I have in the collection that, they're from like the 70s and the 80s, and it shows New York in this really just downtrodden and garbage ridden, and people being complete scumbags. And I'm like, oh my god, man. But before Rudy Giuliani came and completely reinvented New York City, this is what it was, guys. And boy, was it one crazy area. I don't know if I would have ever lived in that area, but I would have at least wanted to experience it once or twice. And this is just really fascinating, man. It really is. I think Lucio Fulci does a great job, man, with this. I love the acting here. I love the characters. I love sort of these people that are coming in and out of the story, and you're experiencing them, and experiencing their sexuality, and how the killer deals with their sexuality. And the killer is really interesting here. He uses this weird sort of like duck, kind of Donald Duck voice, just really just sort of messes with the cops and his victims. And I love that. I love how he uses the knife and everything. And I love this other character who's like this three fingered guy that is just really sleazy, and he's really sexual, and just one just like dirty guy, dude. Like, this movie feels dirty. It feels sort of grungy. You're just like, oh god, dude. But I really love it, man. I think this movie is really genuine and really unique, and I had a really great time watching this movie, because it really just feels like a slice of 70s and 80s sort of like horror sleaze that you just don't find anymore, guys. I think it's pretty brilliant, man. And I'm so glad that this got a 4K restoration. I think the picture looks great, man. I think the picture looks really awesome here. And you get a lot of content here, man. You get an audio commentary by Troy Howard. He's very knowledgeable about horror, about this time period in horror, Lucio Fulci, everything. You also get Lucio Fulci and his films, talking about the filmmaker and the films he's done, his influence on cinema. An interview with the co-writer, interview with a bunch of stars here of the movie, talking about Lucio Fulci, talking about his influence on cinema, talking about how some of them had difficulties working with him, others got along with him. You also have a biographer talking about Fulci and his film, theatrical trailer, New York City locations then and now, posters, still galleries, so much stuff, guys. Lucio Fulci is a very fascinating and interesting director. I like him quite a bit. People have had difficulties working with him. Other people really loved him. He was a very fascinating director, guys. I really love his work. I love the obscure stuff. I love the more well-known stuff. This is one that I had never seen before, and I'm so glad that I blind bought it, man. Lucio Fulci is so fascinating to me, and this director, man, I can't get enough of his work. I'm definitely going to find more of his work to show off, guys. I definitely will. In the meantime, if you guys have not checked out the New York Ripper, definitely do it. I think it's really worth it. A really cool little sleazy slasher for sure. Give it a look, guys. The New York Ripper. All right, everybody, that'll do it for the Blu-ray pickups video for June of 2019. And as you can see, guys, oh, yeah, it was quite the haul that I got, for sure. But I wasn't really thinking I was going to get this much, but nice surprise. And A pleasant one indeed. Always good to have more stuff in the collection for sure. And there was a lot of stuff coming out for June, man. Whether we had the 4K upgrades, some cool new releases, you had the indie titles. Yeah, there was a lot of really great stuff that came out in June. Whatever you got was definitely worth it. Let me know what you guys picked up. And now we're in July, and there is some good stuff coming out in July, man. You've got stuff that was theatrically released in the spring that's finally getting released on Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD. And now a lot of those titles are highly anticipated. You've got some cool 4K upgrades coming. You've also got some indie titles from some of these independent studios that are finally getting released after being announced months ago. Stuff from Arrow Video, stuff from Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, a lot of great titles I know people are really highly anticipating. And even some surprises too, some really good stuff. What will I be getting? Well, you guys are going to have to wait until the next Blu-ray Pickles video, but I promise it's going to be unexpected and some titles you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised by for sure. So definitely stay tuned to that video. And I hope you liked this one. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. Again, let me know what you guys picked up, what you're highly anticipating for July, everything I am dying to know. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray pickup videos I've done. Check out the Blu-ray DVD Tuesday videos I do every single week, the theatrical movie reviews I do with my friends, movie hunting, and movie topic videos I've done as well, and so much content on the channel. If you love movies and physical media, hit subscribe and become a part of the Film Fan Nation. You guys are awesome. The guys, everybody, guys, gals, everybody in the Film Fan Nation, I really want to thank you all. You guys are beyond awesome, and this channel would not be what it is without any of you, and I appreciate all of you so goddamn much. I really honestly do. I love your movie recommendations. I love your just topics, talking about movies, the subject matter, telling me things that I don't even know. I'm always pleasantly surprised by everything you guys have to tell me, and I look forward to it all the time, so thank you so much. So if you're not subscribed yet, definitely do that, and make sure to check out everything I do through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, FilmFan108. Keep up to date with everything I'm doing, plus special videos and pictures I do from time to time on social media as well. Alright guys, I will see you back next time for a brand new Blu-ray pickup video. Take care everybody, and happy hunting!